Hello everyone, Brunsmith here. Today, hopefully, I've got a really good video for you. I hope it's very helpful. It's going over a lot of things I've already gone over, but I feel like putting them into one video would be a good idea and hopefully help many people. So, this is mastering the basics. Firstly, I want to say these are drills that I've used and they're drills that I've taught with before as well, and people tend to pick up picking faster and become better pickers because of these drills. They may not work for you, and that's absolutely fine. So what I didn't want to do was come on here and get my super premium Mokies or custom picks, the things that beginners don't really have. So I have this. And this is more like something that you'll have when you first start. You've probably not done much research, and if you're anything like me, you've just jumped straight into it and you've ordered the first set you found or something like that. You may have picks that look like this, which is perfectly fine, but I'm going to be using this. I have customized this set, which you can do at home, but you don't need to. And we're only going to be focusing on a couple of profiles today anyway. So first we're going to get our triple peak, or whatever rake you have, doesn't really matter. We're going to get one rake, one with many bumps if you've got it. We're going to get a half diamond if you've got it. Again, it doesn't matter if you don't. And some sort of standard looking flattish hook. Now these are pretty thick profiles. You can see the steel that they've used on these is not the best. Okay, I have smoothed some of them out a little bit, but again, I haven't gone overboard with it. So here's three profiles that we could be using for the drills in this video. We have a hook that's not too deep, a half diamond if you've got it, and a rake if you've got it. And the tensioners that you have available. So if all you have available is something like this, then use that. But try if you can, and they do come with a lot of different sets, to get a set of 3 in 3 different widths. So that's long end and short end. So these are the tools that we'll be focusing on today. 6 tools. Now let's talk about beginning locks. There's lots of advice flying around the internet. Some of it is great, some of it's not so great. The way I learnt was picking what I could get my hands on. I didn't have a set routine, I didn't have a list of locks I was told to get. Whatever I could find is what I would start picking. Today we live more in the age of information, and you can optimize your learning by selecting specific locks that teach you specific things. So I always tell people to not even bother with these, but I'm going to show you a couple of drills you can use even with this. I'm going to use one of these because that's an easy access lock that a lot of people can get in America, the United States, and I'm going to use one of these, which again is an easy lock to get in the UK or in the United States. So now we've got a few lock options, and we have a couple of tools to use. So first we're going to start with this piece of junk. Okay? I don't like these at all. They don't feel like real locks. They teach you bad habits because you can see what's going on inside. However, what they can do is teach you how different profiles manipulate the pins. Without putting any tension on, I want you to grab whichever rake you chose, put it so it's manipulating the pins, and I want you to watch those pins and how they move when you do three different things. The first thing I want you to do is scrubbing in and out, and watch how those pins rise and fall. Now what I want you to do is rock. So you're going to put it in and you're going to rock it like that, moving forward and backwards to see how that manipulates the pins. And the last thing I want you to do is put it all the way in, lift it up slightly and whip it out. And now it might be a bit fast for your eyes to see, but if you do it a few times you can get the general idea of what's happening. Okay. Next, I want you to get your half diamond, and if you've got a bit of warding there, that's great to go off of. If not, just hold it up against the pins and push it forwards. Now you notice with the half diamond, the cow catcher on the front can manipulate the pins going forward very smoothly and backwards. You can also allow yourself some more room and pick individual pins. What you can also do is put it to the very back and zip the exact same way as you did with your rake profile. Lastly, I want you to get your hook, and now try to do the same thing. If you've got a gem style hook, which means it's angled at the front like that, it will have a mini cow catcher, so it doesn't hang down further, but because it's still got the same angle as the half diamond, you may be able to push through the pins like you did with the half diamond. If you have a flat or something else, then you may not be able to push through them, so you have to go under the pins, and you can do one at a time, going under, push one, under, push the next, under, push the next, and notice how it's manipulating the pins. If it's manipulating other ones, see if you can isolate one pin at a time. Also try putting it to the back and then manipulating one pin at a time, dragging it back. So if you put it all the way to the back and drag this way, because it's got the slope, it works the same way as the half diamond but backwards. It can manipulate the pins as you drag. And that's all I want you to do with this. So now we'll move on to a very common first recommended lock. This is the master number 3, so you can see there. So the first drill we'll do is we'll put a tensioner in, making sure it sits nicely, and you can go through all your tensioners to see which one fits nicely. Making sure the core isn't getting stuck by the tensioner grabbing on to that section there. See how it whipped around like that? Sometimes that it's called binding the core, it will make the core get stuck. And we're going to grab our rake and we're going to try, I'm going to get the thicker of the tensioners here, and we're going to try our 3 different methods. So the first one, if you remember, is just pushing in and out. Now the way that I'm tensioning, before we go any further, I'm starting with as light tension as I can, so just so when it stops moving, less than the weight of my thumb. Then as I'm going, I'm slowly increasing tension. And there, if that's worked, you have your first ever open. And I want you to do the same thing with our second method, which, if you remember, is rocking. So you're rocking on your way in and on your way out. For some locks it will work faster, for some locks it will work slower. And it's much easier to overset pins, so you may have to reset and start again. Reset, light tension, and we'll do slightly lighter rocking, faster but not as aggressive. In and out. And there we go. And we have one method left, if you remember what that is. It's putting it in and whipping it out as fast as you can. Be careful, because your rake can get stuck on things inside the lock and you can cause some damage to your tools. So no tension as you put it to the back, light tension, and zip it out. And if all three of those methods happen to work for the lock that you're using, you have your first 3 opens. Next, we're going to move on to single pin picking with the half diamond. So we're going to use bottom of the keyway tension again. In the community it's referred to bottom of the keyway, however in many countries pins are face down, pins can be faced up, it doesn't really matter. I like to be versatile and pick both ways, up and down, because you come across locks of all different pin orientations in the wild. We're going to start SPPing with the half diamond. Light tension, so the weight of my finger or less, and I'm going to put the half diamond all the way to the back. Now as I drag it out, I'm going to see if any of these pins, and I can feel it manipulating the pins as I pull. If any of those pins feel different than the rest, namely more stiff, or it may be a feeling of smoothness, I'm going to just click it up until I get a tiny little click. And it's not going to be loud. Depending on your lock, it's not going to be a big clunk like you expect. The microphone picks it up a lot better than you hear it in real life. And again, you may overset things. So to the back and drag. And you can do that as many times as you need until you have clicked all of the pins into their place. There we go, just got caught up on that last one there, and that last one was a loud click. And we're open, and that should be your first SPP. Next we're going to try zipping with the half diamond, just to prove you can. And there we go. Now we're going to move on from this lock to this one. Hopefully my picks are not too thick for this one. And we're going to move on to the hook. Now with this drill, what we're going to do is we're going to focus on manipulating individual pins. So start off with no tensioner and get pin 1, bounce on that. Pin 2, bounce on that. Pin 3, bounce on that. Pin 4, bounce on that. If you take a look at this key, each cutout should be a pin. Usually, not always. So there's a cutout up here, starting there. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So if you put your pick in to the back, you should hear the same amount of clicks. Push down on the pins and drag it out slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Five pins. So focus on bouncing pin 1, bouncing on pin 2, bouncing on pin 3, bouncing on pin 4, and bouncing on pin 5. This is the time where I'm going to talk to you about how to hold the pick. Up until now, I've been fine with you holding it, getting used to it with however you like. Now, I'll show you how I like to hold it. So this is the grip that I use. Close like that. And this finger up on the shank, and I like to touch the lock lots of the time as well. That way I can feel as much as possible coming through, resonating through the shank of the pick and through the lock. You can see my index and thumb are used to manipulate the pick inside the lock, in and out, and pressure is applied with either the pinched grip, pushing down on the pins. It can be applied by going around warding with the whole wrist, or it can be applied, and this isn't always recommended, by levering off of the lock. Now, lots of the times when you're picking pins up, you will find yourself levering like that. Just keep in mind that that's a lot more strain and a lot more stress on your picks. So now, add your tensioner. Light tension like we have before, put our pick to the back of the lock, and we're going to go over all of those pins and see if any of them feel like a speed bump, smooth and forcing the pick to go over it. That's the binding pin. So we'll try to give it a little click. I got a little click out of that one. This one feels smooth too. Little click there. This one also feels smooth. Little click there. And you've noticed the keyway has moved, but the lock's not open. Now I'm expecting something called counter rotation. I'm going to do the same thing I've been doing, but as I push down on a certain pin, I'm going to feel the core of the lock push back against my thumb on my tensioning hand. It's a bit further turned there. And it's pushing back against my thumb. Now I'm going to very lightly pulsate on the pin. Just pulse, 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 pulse. And I'm going to slightly lay off tension with each pressure I apply. Taking a pick out, I actually lost the... oh, there we go. And there we go. Just had to push, push, push until I felt the core move slightly, and you're open. You don't have to focus on doing that right now. This is mastering the basics, but I thought it was nice since I got into a full set to show you. And now what I'd like you to do is put the hook in there and zip it out to show that you can zip with the hook. And you can reset. So I'll do 5 zips, because that's how many pins are in there. And there we go. Just a little bonus. And the last thing we're going to work on is picking pins up with the hook. And top of the keyway tension. Now I'm going to use the small end. I'm going to put in the top of the keyway, and we're picking pins up, so this is top of the keyway this time. And I'm going to use the hook to the back, and I'm going to feel those little smooth speed bumps, and I'm going to click them up, up, up until we get the open. So here has been your Mastering the Basics video. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please let me know if there's anything you would like me to go over, and please let me know in the comments the things that helped you most as a beginner that you would like me to cover so other people can learn as well. This has been Runesmith's Mastering the Basics. Thanks for watching.